This is the No Excuses Coaching Podcast with Ryan Montes and Alanna Banks, where we discuss the mindset, the attitude, and the strategies of elite coaching. The moment of truth.
Yeah.
How well do you know Alanna Banks?
Alanna, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Would you like to go on a cruise with lots of people where you're not able to get off the boat for an extended period of time?
I am not available for that.
You're not available for that. Alanna, would you like to stay in your head and not drop into your heart and not be grounded in your knowing?
I don't think I'm available for that.
You're not available for that.
No.
I understand. Okay. This is kind of the answer that I expected, that you're not available for these things. Alanna, I think myself and some of our listeners might have noticed a pattern that there seems to be some things that you're not available for.
Yeah. I mean, there's things that I'm not available for, but when I say I'm not available for these things, I'm not just being kind of like rude or anything like that, but I do have very clear boundaries, I guess, about things that I'm open to and things I'm not open to. And the way I like to express that is by telling people that I'm not available for those things.
Yes. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about, this is, by the way, the No Excuses Coaching Podcast. Welcome. We're going to talk about this Alanna-ism, which is a term I created to describe the fun things that Alanna says, many of them very valuable. And that is, I'm not available for X, the variable X. You say this all the time, and I really like it. And it's a good policy to not be available for certain things sometimes. So what is this?
Totally.
Before we dive into this,
yeah,
here's the exciting thing coming up, listeners. We're going to talk about specific things that we're not available for. But before we do, Alanna, what does it mean when you say you're not available for something? Just what does that mean?
Yeah, when I say I'm not available for something, it just means I'm not opening myself up to go any further with whatever it is.
Good. I think I'm not available for is a really elegant, really intelligent way of being honest about what you're interested in doing or not doing, and what you're interested in discussing or not discussing, or whatever. What you're interested in engaging with or not engaging with might be a good way to put it. And I cannot say that it has yet made its way into my regular, everyday sort of vernacular, the I'm not available for X.
Yeah.
So I don't use it commonly, but I love it. And I think it's a good attitude to have. I'm not available for whatever. Because really what it means is a person who says that, assuming they do it in a respectful way, which you always do, is pretty good and pretty comfortable with boundaries, with setting boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
100%. And it makes it, another example is with my kids, for example, if they're having a moment or they're melting down about something or they're being rude to me or mean, and I just stop and I'm just I'm not available for this behavior right now. So when you can be calmer or you can talk to me in a more pleasant manner, then, I'll engage with you. But right now I'm not available for this. And they think it's funny when I say that, they laugh. Right. And so that's what I mean. It's sort of a lighthearted and, as you say, elegant way of really just being I'm not engaging with this behavior right now. So figure that out and then come back to me is kind of why I like to use that. And I didn't have boundaries before. I had zero boundaries a long time ago before I even I didn't even know what a boundary was, which is hilarious. And some people listening right now may be thinking, what the heck is a boundary? I don't even know either.
Yeah.
And so this was a really easy way for me to kind of figure out what I was available for and what I wasn't available for. Right. Yeah. And actually teach this as part of my self-image workshop. And it's also a question when I ask that to someone, or if I'm in a coaching environment with people and I ask people, what are you not available for? That's always the question that perks people's ears up the most, because sometimes people are I don't think I've ever even considered that question. What am I not available for?
Yeah.
Because you're allowed, right? You're allowed to not be available for something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like a nice mantra to just have in your head, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what, and to be aware of what are you not available for and what are you available for, right?
Yeah.
Um, People out there. Let's talk specifics.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, when it comes to coaching, something that I'm not available for is clients canceling on me at the last minute.
Yeah.
I'm not available for that. And I make that very clear at the beginning of our work together that that is not okay because I take this work very seriously. And, it's important to commit to your commitments and show up on time and be there. And yeah, so I'm not available for clients canceling at the last minute.
Yeah. 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 That's a good one.
Yeah.
Now I have a very different business model than you do. I tend to have a maximum of one actual client at a time because I have more students
Yeah.
than I have clients. And so when I'm working with one client at a time, we're a little bit more flexible in our scheduling, I will admit. But that's because for somebody to become a one-to-one client with me, they've already proven that they're highly, highly, highly serious about taking action and getting results and showing up. So the rare instances where they need to reschedule last minute, I know, it's a legitimate need, not just, self-sabotage or something like that. So I am available for last minute reschedules with my very exclusive elite one-to-one clients. Anyways, do you want to hear something that I'm not available for?
Yeah. I was just going to ask, what are you not available for, Ryan?
I'm not available for standing in long lines.
Me neither.
I won't do it.
Yeah.
Unless it's absolutely necessary, which is almost never.
Yeah.
I don't do
I'm
Q.
not available for standing in line for like a coffee, for example.
Oh yeah, I will not stand in line for a coffee.
No.
I won't do it. There was a few years ago, I went and I returned to college to take a college program for a couple of years. And there was a very busy coffee shop in the college that would have at any given moment, a line of 50 people in it. And obviously I'm not available for that. But I realized you could also order through an app on your phone. And so I'd walk to the coffee shop and just pull out my phone and just as I was standing there, order and then go stand next to the counter, not in a line. And, a minute or two later, they would hand me my coffee and I would leave.
That's cool.
And yeah. And had I been available to stand in big long lines, I probably never would have even considered the much better strategy of ordering my coffee through the app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Standing in line, I'm not available for either. I'm also not available for people honking at me. When you're driving and you're at a stop, like a red light, and you're the first person and you're totally paying attention, not on your phone, not that I drive and look at my phone at the same time. But if you don't gun it, as soon as the light turns green and then the person behind you starts honking, I'm not available for that. I'm just can you chill? I'm not gonna just jump on the gas as soon as the light turns green.
Yeah.
That's something I'm not available for too.
This is just reminding me of the pet peeve episode that we did in season 1 now. Because that's not up to you.
No, it isn't. You're right.
You can't control if somebody honks at you or not.
Well, I guess I'm not available for getting angry about it. Or I'm not available for making it a whole thing where I'm going to give him the finger or whatever, right? I just am relax.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not available for road rage.
Road rage?
of any variety. Man, yeah, that's a whole can of worms there. But on the flip side, dude or lady behind you honking, they're not available for hesitation.
Clearly.
They're back there saying, green means go, lady. So but a little patience does go a long way.
Yeah. So this actually could lead in nicely to creating what you're not available for. And there's something called the circle of influence and the circle of concern. So you can
Yes.
have your circle of influence. Everything inside that circle are things that you have control over. So, you have control over yourself, you have control over your beliefs, you have control over like things you can control. And then everything that's outside of that circle is the circle of concern. And that's like everything that you have zero control over, like other people, the weather, you know, events going on outside of you. And you can move things in and out of those circles like whenever you want.
Yeah.
And, if you're a visual person or, it makes more sense to you to like see something or like write it out, this might be a fun exercise for the listeners to do where you just like draw these two circles, things that you have control over, things you don't have control over, and then seeing what things are inside your circle of influence that are actually supposed to be in the circle of concern because you can't control it. And once you let go of those things, you'll feel such a weight come off of you because those are causes for a lot of frustration and probably anger and like resentment in your life if you've got things in your circle of influence that you have zero control over.
That reminds me of the Serenity Prayer. You know what that is?
No.
You probably heard it, but
is that from As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, the Serenity chapter?
It might be in there. However, it goes way back. I think it was I'm just looking at Wikipedia now. Originally published in 1951, the Serenity Prayer is a prayer attributed to the American theologian Reinhold Niebuhr in 1943. However, Winifred Crane Weigall wrote an earlier version in 1933. Let me just read it to you.
Yeah.
Enough preamble about the Serenity Prayer. I guarantee you've heard this before. It has the word God in it, but it's a pretty non-denominational.
Yeah. I mean, all these old written,
back in the day,
written content had God in them, but you can substitute it with whatever.
Universe, source, self, whatever. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah.
Have you heard that before, or variation?
I have heard that. Yeah, I have heard that.
So like your circle process there, the circle of influence and the circle of concern, to me sounds like a modern coaching spin on this, concept, right?
Yeah.
Don't let the things that are outside of your control, influence the way you feel about yourself, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
If something is within your control it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing to go along with that, I remember this was a really long time ago. I don't even remember now what I was talking about, but someone said to me, no one can make you feel anything. You are letting them make you feel that way. Because, why is that? Because we are the only people that have control over our feelings, our emotions, right? No one can make you feel sad. No one can make you feel angry. You're allowing them to make you feel that way. And that was like such an empowering thing I don't know who said that to me years and years ago, but that's always stuck with me. And that's the same thing with these circles, right? Like you get to choose how you feel and no one is making you feel anything.
Yeah.
That's just a little add-on.
Let's talk about more stuff that we're not available for. I think examples are a good way.
Yeah, examples are good.
First of all, they're funny to me. But also, they're a good way to really drive home the point of being available for and being not available for. So what else you got? What's on your list? What are you not available for?
I'm really not available for complaining.
Complaining.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't. I mean, I'm not available for complaining personally, right? Because I have control over that. I sometimes can complain. Of course, I'm human. But when I see myself going down that route, that for me is an old pattern, and I stop it and I'm like, I'm not available for this. I'm not available to complain about whatever it is I'm complaining about, and I move on. And even though other people may complain to me, I can control that by kind of saying I'm not available for this conversation right now. I might not say that in the context of the conversation, but in my head, I'll probably say to myself, I'm not available for this, and then try to shift the conversation to something else.
Yeah.
Or leave, or, whatever, or hang up, or just like randomly click.
Yeah. You
No, but
enforce
when I see a conversation going down that route, I will most likely say something to a friend or something like that, where I'm just like, can we talk about something else? Or unless I'm being compassionate, then it makes sense. I mean, that's the other thing. You can have a lot of caveats to the things you're not available for. Sometimes you might be available for it, but sometimes you may not be available for it. Like, it's fluid. That's also the way you have to look at it, because you don't want to be rigid with your boundaries. Like, your boundaries can be very fluid too.
Yeah.
Contextually based, I think.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have another example?
I'm not available for very black and white thinking. Like this, and it's human nature.
For sure.
Like, this is right, that's wrong. Or, this argument makes more sense than that argument. Therefore, this one's right, that one's wrong. Most of life exists in the gray, right? It's not black and white,
Yeah.
Competing ideas can both hold merit. So, if somebody's really a hard line, black and white thinker, and they want to make other people wrong for them to be right, I'm not available to participate in that vibe at all. Right?
Yeah.
That's a big one for me.
Yeah, that is a big one. That's a big one for me too, because it's just like, if I believe this and you believe that, then why do I need to convince you to believe what I believe?
Yeah.
Why can't we just be, okay, that's cool, you believe that, but I believe this, and leave it at that? Who cares?
Yeah. In Canada, there's this debate about whether it's appropriate to put pineapple on pizza or not.
Right. Yeah.
People are, I could have led that intro to this topic.
That
could
would
have
have
led
been a
many
good.
interesting topics. Anyways, and people are very passionate about this.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing: if you're an anti-pineapple person, okay, you have no right to tell me what I put on my pizza. Okay, it's my pizza. So, and if you're a pro-pineapple person, like I am, I have no right to tell people you must have pineapple on your pizza. You can have your pizza with or without pineapple. I'm going to have mine with pineapple pretty much every time. And, let's live in peace.
Totally.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't understand people who need to convince you otherwise. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. By the way,
I'm not available for that.
By the way, Alanna, you like pineapple on your pizza?
Yeah, I do. I'm available for pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, I'm only available for pizzas that have pineapples on them. And
one thing I'm not available for, though, is cream sauce on a pizza. I'm not available for that.
Like in lieu of tomato sauce?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, you could. I might argue that that's not technically pizza.
Maybe, yeah. But it's I think it's like an Asiago cheese chicken pizza or something like that.
Yeah, there's different styles, right? And there's also a thing called I think it's called a white pizza, when there's just no sauce.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, but I don't like the cream sauce on pizza.
I mean, I'm open to try anything.
Yeah.
But I think if you deviate too far from the combination of crust, tomato sauce, cheese, toppings, at some point it's just not a pizza anymore. It's just like a round baked, like flatbread, right? Then you deviate too far. Now you're in a flatbread.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess, if they called it flatbread, then I would be okay with the cream sauce, but I'm not into the pizza with the cream sauce.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other hand, if somebody else wants to put, I don't know,
cream sauce on, I'm fine with it.
Use Nutella instead of tomato sauce and call it a pizza. Fine, you do you, right? Not for me.
I just don't necessarily want to share the pizza with you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Have you ever had a beaver tail?
Yeah. I love a beaver tail.
Yeah, they're pretty good. For those listeners out there who don't know what that is, it's a Canadian like dessert pastry, traditionally sold during the winter time, but also you can get them year round.
Yeah.
It's like a deep fried batter with you can get different toppings on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a flat donut, I would say.
It's kind of
Like
like a
a
flat
flattened
donut.
donut.
Yeah.
It's actually very similar to this Portuguese donut that you can buy because I live in a very Portuguese neighborhood, and there's a really good Portuguese bakery that sells these donuts that are like sugar coated, but they're sort of flattened. And I was like, this is a beaver tail, just with no toppings.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
really good.
Yeah. On the topic of Portuguese pastries, have you ever had those like tarts that they're like
Yes, the custard
cream
tart.
filled? Yeah, they have a
So
name. It's like pastiche or something.
yeah, I love those tarts. They also have the chocolate ones too.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Pastel de nata.
Hmm.
Pastel de nata is
Yeah,
the Portuguese pastry that I'm thinking of. I'm available for that.
I am too. Yeah.
I'm available for those
Yeah.
big time listeners. Okay, let's do a couple more. What are you
Yeah.
not available for? Anna Banks?
um, one thing I'm really not available for, and this is, can be kind of embarrassing, but like I'm not available for when people litter in front of me. Like I have been known to pick up garbage and give it back to the person who littered in front of me.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not available for that. That just drives me crazy. And I don't know, maybe that's a pet peeve and not something and not a boundary. But yeah, I'm not available for littering.
I like that one. I yeah. I don't like littering either. I would never myself
Like,
litter.
would you ever? I would never just like toss a bag of chips on the sidewalk.
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I abhor
People do that.
such behavior. Let's see. I am not available for very crowded places.
Mm,
I'm not available for that. In
yeah.
general. In general. Some exceptions may apply,
Yeah.
but like, man, like it's not as bad as it used to be because of the proliferation of online shopping. But remember, like before Amazon was a thing, like Boxing Day shopping, where
Mm,
people would like fight each other to get in the door of a store,
yeah.
and then it would just be like chaos inside. I'm not available for that.
Yeah. I'm not available for shopping, to be honest.
For shopping.
Yeah. Like I'll go to the mall, but I have a limit. Like I don't know what my time limit is on being in a mall, but I reach this limit where I'm like, I got to get out of here now, like right now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Cool.
I think it's just the crowds. It's just people. It's just the commotion. Another thing I'm not available for is worrying about weather. Like worrying about weather is something I'm just not available for. Or like checking the weather, like incessantly checking the weather or talking to me about the weather. Yeah, I'm not available for that. The weather is weather. I have no control. If it rains, I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. If it's snowing, I'm still going to do, unless it's just like so icy that I can't get in my car or something like that. But I'm not available for that. I think it's a waste of time.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't pay much attention to the weather or worry about the weather, especially like in my like post-military mind, like especially now where one of the things that they drive home in the military, and listeners might be aware, I was in the Canadian Army for 5 years, is that like the weather doesn't matter. So many circumstances, conditions, variables that like a regular person thinks matter when you're talking about accomplishing a mission really don't matter. It's raining, too bad. Go attack the enemy. It's cold, too bad. Go defend sovereignty. You know, it's hailing, too bad. Go, drive your tank down the road or whatever soldier stuff, right? And just like leaving the military kind of changed my perception of the weather is one of the specific things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like, is there really anything that water falling from the sky can prevent you from doing? Is there anything that if you really are determined to do it, that's going to prevent you from doing? Not really.
No.
No.
Like I think for a lot of people, weather is just an excuse to not do something they didn't want to do in the first place.
Yeah.
So just like set up a boundary and say, actually, I'm not available for that activity. And then you're not having to check the weather compulsively because you don't need that excuse of the weather.
All right, so we're on the same page. Not available for being limited by the weather. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not available for arguing and hostility.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, can't remember. I think it was in The Buying Trance by Joe Vitale, which is a book. He talks about the power of agreement, right? And if somebody tells me something that I know is, totally not true, totally wrong, and I know there's no way that I can convince them otherwise, the last thing in the world I'm going to do is argue with them.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I might even agree with them. I might even say, okay, if that's how you believe it is, then that's how it shall be, right?
Yeah.
That's much easier than, saying, well, get mad and, let me tell you why. It's wasted energy a lot of times to try to argue with people or, play into hostility, right?
Totally.
A lot of people out there, a lot of folks out there just looking for a fight, or looking for an opportunity to talk about their own, agenda, right?
Facebook. That's all of Facebook.
All of the comment section of Facebook.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I'm not available for that. In the very, very rare instances where I get a hostile comment on my social media content, depending what it is, if it really crosses a line, I'll just delete it and block the person. Easy peasy. No need to engage. If it's just ignorant to the point of mild offensive, I'll usually thank the person for the comment and put a little heart on it. Because at the end of the day, the bullies need love more than anything else. Right?
It's true.
Yeah, I'm not available for arguing in the comments section.
No, I'm not either.
Okay, one more. I think.
Yeah, one more. And then I'm not available for freezing cold weather.
Alanna, what the
I know, and I live in Canada.
You just told me how you don't want to talk about the weather.
I know.
Literally, that was the last thing you're not available for. And now the next thing is a highly specific type of weather.
Let me put it into context. Okay. So,
Please.
I am not going to just go outside because I need fresh air if it's minus 50. I'm quite happy to stay inside and do something else. So if someone wants me to do something and it's minus 50, I'm not available. Period. I'm just letting them know and being very clear. I'm not going to go snowboarding if it's minus 40. I'm not going to go skating if it's that cold. I just am not. I'm not available for it.
All right. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Which is different than the weather thing because I'm being clear, right?
Yeah, I got it.
I'm being clear about, I guess I should clarify, I'm not available for doing outside activities if it's minus 50.
Yeah. Okay, I gotcha. The other one that you're not available for was more talking or worrying.
That's right.
Or lamenting the weather. You're talking.
Or creating plans with the weather in mind. It's going to be, snowing on Thursday, so we better not make plans because I'm not available for that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do I have one more? I'm not available for this one's maybe a little weird, but maybe you'll understand where I'm coming from. I'm not available for people that want me to go out of my way to convince them of something.
That's a good one.
Especially if it's anything to do with my worth or my opinion or the value that my business provides.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and then, this is rare, but it does happen, and it's happened enough that it's something I'm aware of. Every now and then, I'll get on calls with people to discuss the my trainings or the services that I offer or whatever. But it's not. I don't do sales calls. I'm not there to convince you that you need my service. If you need convincing, go back to my social media, listen to the podcast, get to know me off the call a little better. Right. Every now and then I'll hop on a call with somebody and, I can tell they're just waiting and wanting for me to be a dancing monkey and try to convince them and, show them why I'm worthy of their investment or whatever. I don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I am not available for that. And if you are a coach and you're listening to this, I suggest you not be available for that either. Inform, answer genuine questions, have genuine conversations about how you can help somebody and help somebody reach their goals, and and all that stuff. But never be a dancing monkey, and never jump through hoops that people hold up for you.
Yeah.
People will hold up hoops for you. It's a test.
Yeah.
And the only way to pass such a test is to not engage.
Yeah. Well, tell them that you're not available for it.
Does that one make sense?
That would make sense. When I was in Mexico, I met a woman in the hot tub, and she was like, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" And I told her that I was a hypnotherapist. And she was like, "Oh, I know. I don't know if I believe that actually works. Does it work?" And I'm in my mind, I'm like, I am so not available for this conversation right now, but I'm being polite. So it's a good check though. Things I'm not available for, conversations like this. And so I just basically said, well, what's preventing you from believing that it could work? And kind of threw it back on her. And she realized in that moment that I was not available for this type of conversation. And then I can't even remember where we went from there. But I wasn't about to start convincing her that hypnosis works, because I know it works, obviously. I'm a hypnotherapist, and I find questions like that actually quite insulting. So,
yeah, I was thinking, as you said that, I was thinking that too. Like, we got to give the lady, obviously I wasn't there, but got to give the lady the benefit of the doubt, and,
totally.
all that good stuff for sure. But yeah, like the subtext of what she's saying is that either you're lying or you're stupid.
Yeah,
right?
Pretty much.
It's like she's saying, well, I don't know if that is real. And you just told her that's your job. Right.
Yeah.
Like that's like me saying, well, I work for Microsoft, and somebody being like, well, I'm not sure if Microsoft isn't just a cover for, a Mexican drug cartel.
Yeah.
Like, what are they implying about me when they say something? Well, that's an extreme and ridiculous example, but
yeah, but it makes sense, right? Like,
yeah.
So
she's basically saying, well, I'm not sure if that's legit or you're a total fraud. Like, come on.
Yeah. Not available for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think basically, like out of all these examples, these are just so the listeners can kind of get their heads wrapped around this whole idea of I'm not available for that. It's really like recognizing it, or even like writing out a list. But then as you go through your life, you're going to start, now that you're aware of this, you're going to start recognizing things that you're actually not available for. And it makes it so much easier to navigate life when you have this mental check of things that you're not available for, that before would have maybe sidetracked you. Like in my old life, if someone had asked me that question, I probably would have like gone crazy trying to convince this woman why hypnotherapy is amazing, and like you have to try it, and like going on and on. Whereas now I just shut down those kinds of conversations because I'm not available for them.
Yeah.
So these are just good like mental checks to have for yourself. And obviously you don't want to be rude and, be like, I'm not available for this conversation, lady. So, but it's more for me, it's like kind of an internal process. And then where it is appropriate, I can say I'm not available for that, you know, elegantly, or kind of in a laugh it off type of way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So with the holidays coming up, I think this is a great topic because this applies to your entire life, right? It doesn't just apply to relationships that you have with clients or within your coaching business. This applies to everyone in your life and things too that you interact with regularly.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go, folks.
So that's it.
That's the, holiday boundaries setting tip is, just be aware of what are you available for and what are you not available for, and find your elegant way of communicating that when needed.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I hope this episode inspires people to do so, and be honest with yourself about stuff you don't want to do. I think at the end of the day is the message here.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we spend, or I can think back to my old life where like I spent so much time doing things I didn't want to do. And then I would do the things. And while I was doing the things, I was like angry or frustrated or resentful,
Mm.
and once I learned boundaries and learned this, it just made my life so much easier because I became much happier because I was doing things that brought me joy. And then I was communicating. Maybe we do another episode another time on communicating, but just like once you start communicating what you are not available for, then people feel safer around you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, people, I mean, that's maybe a whole other topic, but the better you are at setting boundaries, the more people will respect and admire you, even if sometimes they don't like the boundaries that you set.
Yeah.
It's true.
And oftentimes, especially when you're new to setting boundaries, the close people in your life, like your close friends and family, are going to be like, who is this person? What do you mean you're not available for this? You've always been available for this.
Yeah. What do you mean you're not going on the annual -75 snowboarding trip to the middle of, the Arctic? How dare you? Cool.
All right. Well, I think we need to call it off there.
Call it off.
Yeah, I'm not available for a longer episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope listeners, you're available to follow me on Instagram at Ryan Montes NLP, and to follow Alanna Banks Coaching.
Yeah.
Alanna Banks Coaching on Instagram. You can find me, if you're available, at ryanmontes.com. I do coach training. I have a 12-week intensive mentorship program. In the new year, I'm going to do a 3-day hypnosis intensive for coaches. So if you want to hypnotize your clients while you coach them, which I recommend you do, reach out to me for that. And I have my book, the One Sentence Coaching Course, on Amazon. Alanna, what do you got going on?
Awesome. Great Christmas gift. Buy Ryan's book.
Absolutely. It's available on Amazon Prime. If you order it, you'll get it probably before Christmas. I think almost certainly. Yeah.
What do I have going on? I'm so excited right now because I'm doing a live local event in Toronto. So if anyone listening lives in Toronto, on Sunday, January 15th, I'm hosting the very first class of something that I'm calling HypnoFlow at Downward Dog Yoga, which is at 30 Ossington Avenue. And I would love to see anyone and everyone there. So you can find out more about that on my Instagram at Alanna Banks Coaching.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. Love it. All right. I guess that's it.
That's it.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey. Bye.
Bye.